The presence of chulos in Sosua and Puerto Plata is a stark reminder of the complex economic interplay between desperation, exploitation, and the global demand for sex tourism. So if you offer money to a prostitute, you better pay the money to her. Don't try to play smart here, because your ass is gonna be kicked. You better be careful when you deal with prostitutes, because they are all about money. Prostitution is about money, so you gotta be careful, because if there is money, there is betrayal. You have to be careful. There's no love. This is just business. This is the biggest mistake that I've seen with tourists. For some reason, they believe that the prostitute is in love with them, and they start trusting the prostitute, and they start to tell her how much money they get, how much money they carry, how often they get the money. Welcome to another episode of the Dominican Route News. Sosua and Puerto Plata, two prominent destinations in the Dominican Republic, are known for their stunning beaches, vibrant culture, and thriving tourism industry. However, beneath the surface, there lies a dark reality. What I'm about to say, it doesn't only happen in the Dominican Republic, it happens everywhere in the world where there is tourism. I've always heard my mother and my grandma say that prostitution is the oldest job in the human history. Whether this is true or not, this is just a saying that people say. So you gotta understand that prostitution generates a lot of money. There is a lot of money in it. So it means that if there is a lot of money, there is crime in it. So there is organized crime, there are pimps, there are chulos, there is people behind it. This money, these women are not just flowing around by themselves. Of course, there are some that they work by themselves, but there are others that they have their boyfriends that act as a chulo or a pimp. They have husbands sometimes that this one acts as a chulo, or they just have a pimp, someone that represents protection for them, someone that gets the drugs, that gets everything for them, someone who negotiates with the clients and everything. So if something goes wrong, there is someone that is coming for your ass. I mean, there is somebody that is going to take care of problem. If you get into problem with this prostitute, there is 99% of possibilities that there is a pimp or a chulo or whoever that is going to come after you to take care of whatever the problem is. A horrendous discovery in the municipality of Maimon, Monsignor Noel province, led the authorities to clarify a violent crime that occurred in Puerto Plata, in which a foreign citizen was murdered and his body transported to Bonao in a vehicle. According to official reports, the lifeless body of the victim, Selvi John Ross, was found inside a Suzuki SUV license plate G628806, which had been transported from Puerto Plata to Maimon with the body inside. Preliminary investigations have allowed authorities to identify and arrest several suspects. One of the key elements in solving the case was the confession of Eloisa Santiago Rivera, 30 years old, who allegedly admitted to her mother that she participated in the murder along with her husband, Adrian Pavel de la Cruz. Both were arrested and remain in custody. In addition, two other people have been detained for their alleged involvement in the crime. The motive for the crime has yet not been confirmed by the prosecutor's office, but there is a hypothesis that says that this is related to some kind of sexual favor that has not been paid. The authorities have assured that they will continue to deepen the investigations to determine if there are more people involved in the planning and execution of the murder. Talk about chulos. What you know by pimp, we know by chulos. These figures play a significant role in the exploitation of vulnerable individuals, particularly women, who are often drawn into sex trade due to economic desperation. This industry is fueled by poverty, limited economic opportunities, and systematic inequality, which push many individuals, especially women, into the sex trade as a means of survival. I'm not judging anybody, I'm just telling the truth. This is the biggest mistake that I've seen with tourists, especially Europeans. For some reason, they believe that the prostitute is in love with them, and they start trusting the prostitute, and they start to tell her how much money they get, how much money they carry, how often they get the money. They start to tell them, I am a ex-police officer, I make this amount of money, I come here every I come here every 2 months, I have a house here, I have a house there. Prostitutes, they don't need to know all that information, because if you tell them all that information, then you become a victim. You become a target, because this information is going to be delivered to who? To the pimp. The pimp is going to know where you are, how much money you make, what's your name, your last name, how many children you have, and all that information is a weakness. You don't need to tell them all of that. It doesn't only happen here. It happens everywhere where there is prostitutes. If you start talking too much, you become a victim. Information is power. They don't need to know all of that. And that's why you get robbed. That's why you get killed. So while some chulos operate as independent agents, others are part of a larger, more organized networks that exploit vulnerable individuals for profit. Their presence is a testament to the commodification of human bodies in the context of sex tourism, where economic desperation meets the demand for cheap and accessible sexual services. In a dangerous and stigmatized industry, chulos often act as gatekeepers, negotiating with clients, ensuring payment, and offering a semblance of safety in exchange for a cut of the earnings. For some sex workers, these arrangements may seem like the only viable option for survival. On the other hand, the relationship between chulos and sex workers is often exploitative and coercive. Many chulos use manipulation, violence, or threats to maintain control over their workers, trapping them in cycles of dependency and abuse. The Dominican Republic, like many Caribbean nations, faces significant challenges related to poverty, unemployment, and inequality. In regions like Sosua and Puerto Plata, where tourism is a primary source of income, the lack of diverse economic opportunity forces many residents to rely on informal or illicit activities to make ends meet. For women in particular, the sex trade often appears as one of the few viable options for financial stability. Many sex workers are single mothers or primary breadwinners for their families. This perpetuates a culture of objectification, commodification of women. The presence of chulos in Sosua and Puerto Plata is a stark reminder of the complex economic interplay between desperation, exploitation, and the global demand for sex tourism. So if you offer money to a prostitute, you better pay the money to her. Don't try to play smart here, because your ass is going to be kicked. You better be careful when you deal with prostitutes, because they are all about money. Prostitution is about money. So you got to be careful, because if there is money, there is betrayal. You have to be careful. There's no love. This is just business. Be careful, guys. Thank you very much for supporting. Thank you for subscribing and liking the videos. I'll see you next week.
Residential Catalea has 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms beachfront suites. Call or text the Dominican route today. Everything is turnkey for you. We will take you step by step in purchasing your beachfront property in the Dominican Republic. You can use it to live in, rental, Airbnb, or just a summer getaway home. These beautiful properties are located in Guayacanes, Dominican Republic. 20 minutes from the airport in Santo Domingo. Call or text today on WhatsApp 225-409-8806. Don't procrastinate on these beautiful beachfront properties. Reach out now.